KBF Ambassador Championship 2023. Dealing with some cold weather this morning. It's a low of 31, high in the 50s. Wind's going to be coming out of the north. This is a team tournament, so 4-person team, best 4 fish from the team. I decided it would be better for me if I head north up Barron Fork Creek where I know that there are bass. I'm going to try to catch some of those, just get a few numbers on the board, and then from there I'll go back down to Indian Creek and drag my jig tube around and try to get bigger bites there. Starting off with the SHIMANO Whirl Pop. Initial thoughts getting here, despite it raining all day Friday, the water level is almost a foot lower. It's I'm not really used to fishing any kind of areas that have dams. I'm guessing they released some water from the dam and that had a bigger effect than I thought it would. So I know from Thursday's practice that just past this bridge the water deepens a little bit, and I'm hoping that something's going to come out and ambush this topwater. So most people would not throw topwater when it's 31 degrees, but down around in Mobile I've caught fish when it's pretty cold on topwater pretty much all year long. So they will hit it. So no action yet, but I am noticing something silver just to the left of my head in this tree up here. It looks like a bait from someone who was casting on the bank and I guess made kind of a wild cast. And I think I can reach it with my paddle, so I'm going to go over here and smack it down. It's always a little bonus sometimes when you find a decent lure. So this already shallowish creek that I was fishing on Thursday, Barron Fork, now that the water's low, it's even more shallow, and the areas that I was easily able to float over, I'm kind of having to navigate them a little more closely now. It's taking me longer to get to where I'm trying to go. There was no explosion or anything like that, or no swirl from that fish taking that plug in. I was just twitching it and had a fish on it. But I'll take it. First one, SHIMANO Whirl. This bend right here is where I caught my first bass on the POGO SHAD Thursday. I'm hoping that there was more than one, kind of hanging out in this bend that day, and I'm hoping they're still around. But with the water level being as it is, I'm not sure, but I'm going to work it for a few minutes and see what happens. Well, that's a little concerning. No fish around the tree. Time to move on to where I caught my second fish Thursday. Just trying to work that topwater really well around any of these bends in this creek where the water's flowing and I know there's a good depth change. The camera didn't really catch it very well, but on a prior cast I had one little fish swirl at the top water, but that was all I could get up through here. And Thursday there were several little fish in here, and I was sure hoping I could catch them, but they're just not active today. I think that lower water has them on high alert, that and the temperature drop. In Thursday's video, I had a bass chase me around this stump, and it was underwater at that time. And I had a panfish, I think I caught a panfish on a pogo shad, and that stump there was completely underwater in that video. And you can see right here, it's several inches out of water. That just goes to show you how much that water has dropped. It's kind of frustrating. I paddled all this way and the water's so darn low, but I'm going to keep it up a little bit more, and then I've got to head back to Indian Creek and try to catch some bass over there. Alright, it's going to be the last little section that I fish up Barron Fork Creek. This is another area where I caught some fish Thursday. I caught one out of these laydowns up here, and then around this curve I lost one on Thursday, but nothing going here. It's just the water's dropped, it's so shallow. I kind of sort of made a dry run. It's over 3 miles for one little fish, but that's just how it goes, you know. I could have come back here and completely tore them up and it'd been worth it, but now I've got to haul butt back to Indian Creek and try to salvage some fishing time. It's about 10 o'clock right now, and it'll be about 12 o'clock when I get back over there. So I didn't bother to include the big paddle time to get back there. This is me at Indian Creek. I'm going to be trying to skip that weedless tube rig that I like to use, that I call the Peter Johnson rig. And I've been fishing for about 20 minutes prior to this. Not a big guy, but a good second little fish. $12.25. So I've spoken to one of our other team guys, and he's doing pretty good fishing a worm right around this wood line here, pretty close to shore. So I'm kind of just going to emulate him if I can, and try to do the same thing with my tube. Just skip it in there, try to get bit. Oh, that one really hurt, because that felt like a good fish. He hit it, and I set the hook, and it swam right out towards the middle, and then it just kind of came to the surface and popped off. I fished my way up Indian Creek and ran into this buoy. It says that past this creek is the Redstone Arsenal boundary, and you can't go any further unless you have permission from the commander of the army base. But on the right side there's a little slip, and several boats have gone past it, so evidently they have permission from the commander. I'm not really sure. I wish I would know who this commander is. I would like to ask him if I could go up there. But it's too late now, so gotta turn back for today. I've been dragging around that tube for quite a while. I'm now about to make a bait change. I'm now using a pogo shad. I'm going to finish out my last little hour of fishing with that pogo shad. See if I can get any strikes on it. fish really love hitting that pogo shad. This is like the second or third one I've caught on this trip. It's very territorial, I guess. Alright, so we fished until it was time to go, met up with the other team members. None of us did too spectacular, but we all had a good time. We all caught fish, so that's always a plus. Now it's time to drag back up the hill, unload all our gear, head to weigh-in, and watch the guys who won get their trophy. Have a good time and eat pizza. So I had my camera going while I pulled up this hill, and I thought the footage looked pretty cool, so I'm leaving it in here. And this is going to be my little, I guess, outro. If you've stuck around this long, I greatly appreciate it. Thanks for checking out the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and catch you on the next one. This is just going to be my last little pulling away from the Triana boat ramp.